Let me start then by asking Jonathan Bartley to lay out the case for a change to AV.
Okay, even though we have two very seasoned politicians here, I hope we can move away from the crystal ball gazing and speculation about how parties might fare under AV. We can't be political fortune tellers, nor should we, and this issue is not about politicians, it's about us, the voters. So I want tonight to talk about what we do know, and I want to propose that AV is a small change, but it will make a very big difference to real people's lives. We know that currently many MPs have jobs for life, but AV begins to take power away from parties, and it puts it more into the hands of voters. We currently, as you saw in the demonstration, get one take it or leave it option, where often through guesswork we try and predict who actually has a chance of getting elected. But AV gives us a different opportunity to rank candidates with a simple 1, 2, 3. And where our voice is often currently muted, AV gives us a choice. It allows us to say much more with our vote. Any candidate getting a majority would be instantly elected. Sometimes they'll be the same candidates. But where most MPs are currently elected by minorities, that is less than 50%, under AV we would be sure that more voters actually wanted them. We would get a fairer and a more accurate result. MPs will be elected with majority support rather than the majority actually opposing them, as is sometimes the case now. So the more popular candidates will be elected more of the time. It'll mean an end to those little bar charts that we get through our doors at election time, trying to convince us that only this party or only that party can win here. We can vote more truthfully with both our heads and our hearts for the candidate we prefer, not just the candidate that we think might win, or even just to keep another candidate out. MPs will have to work harder. They'll have to appeal more widely to win the preference votes, so it will broaden political agendas, as candidates have to look beyond their small core support and reach out to supporters even of other parties. Parties, for their part, will have to show where they agree with one another, not simply where they disagree. And we know MPs will be more accountable. If they want to be re-elected, they will have to maintain the confidence of a majority of voters. If more people don't want them in, then they are voted out. What else do we know? Well, a few secrets. The alternative vote is already used by 14 million people right here in the UK, by teachers, journalists, nurses, lawyers, unions, charities and businesses. The majority of G7 countries also use similar preferential systems for their parliaments. AV was chosen by a Conservative government for by-elections in Northern Ireland at the height of the Troubles because they considered it the most representative system. In the Republic of Ireland, it elects the President. We have an almost identical system right here to elect the London Mayor. Almost every smaller party in the UK is supporting the alternative vote, from the Greens to Plaid, because they recognise the benefits it will also bring to minority voices. The exception to this is the British National Party, who are campaigning hard against AV. They have already had people elected to town halls under first past the post, but they know under AV they'll never get majority support for fascist views, and so they'll never get an MP elected to Westminster. The World Development Movement, Greenpeace, Friends of the Earth, democracy groups, Operation Black Vote, a whole range of community organisations are backing AV because they see the benefits it will bring for the people they represent. In the US too, a new city has adopted AV every year since 2004 because it challenges the power of big business and has helped to develop a new form of community-based politics. And we know too a lot about our existing system. We know that alongside the economic crisis, we've faced a political crisis. We know that democratically, we couldn't really have any less say than we do now. Before the last election, the result was already a foregone conclusion in almost 400 seats because there was no hope of getting rid of the MP. 1 in 3 seats hasn't changed hands since the Second World War. We know there's a correlation between the length of time that MPs serve in Parliament and their involvement in the MPs' expenses scandal. There's a correlation too between safe seats, people not voting, and social deprivation in areas where they've experienced decades of political neglect. The last election was determined by just a few thousand voters in a handful of marginal seats who were targeted by the main political parties, ignoring the majority of voters and the many important issues that they care about. My time is up. Thank you very much.